welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for October 15th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
I'm going to lead off here with, we got first issue last week. Got the second issue of Axis. This is the Avengers X-Men. Kind of the secondary follow-up to that previous Avengers versus X-Men there. It's the second part, looking pretty interesting. I liked the first issue there, which we had. It was my first introduction to the Red Onslaught, which was the Red Skull, doing the Onslaught thing with Charles Xavier's brain.
Right.
I don't understand how you get someone else's brain in your body and somehow you have the power of their brain, but I totally don't understand how this works at all.
Comics.
Yeah, but I can turn a blind eye to most of it. That I don't get it at all how it works, but it is what it is. I think this is start to what looks like it's going to be a pretty cool story. So we'll see how it all shakes out again. It's probably going to be awesome to start. Who knows what's going to happen? But then they could always throw an extra bookend on. So when you're like, wait, so who's the Watcher and who's got an eyeball and what? They'll just throw an original Sin Annual at you, and then they'll wrap that all up. So I'm not really sure this is, and who's writing this annual. It's got a great cover by Francesco Francavilla, which is beautiful, at least one of those variants. Who's doing our writing, or do we have multiple stories? So Jason Latour is writing here. But this is, my knowledge, supposed to be kind of the follow-up to some of the things that they've done. I don't know, I don't really see much Nick Fury, because that's actually where I'm most curious. The heck's going on the moon, him with the one dude on the leash, but I don't understand how the orb's got an eyeball, and now he's just watching in a totally creepy, inappropriate way. I don't get it. But I'm going to read it anyway. Then I've got Trees by Warren Ellis. Now, I am caught up on this book. I'm trying to remember what happened in issue number 5. This is issue 6, so I might be an issue behind. But while we started out with our general premise of these alien, trees kind of extending into the sky and life having to readapt and society figuring its way out, we're now actually getting into a story with very particular and specific characters. There's a kid that has come into this one city, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. There's a woman that's kind of helping him. It's pretty good. Again, it's so broad strokes. I don't remember what happened in the previous one, but I do like what I'm reading. Then, now here, this one went totally off the rails for me with the previous issue, The Life After number 3. So we've got our guy somehow stuck in this sort of purgatory for suicides. He meets, what is his name? Hemingway. Hemingway's kind of telling him what's going on. They seem to be the only two aware of it, where everyone else is acting out their suicide forever. Well, there's these people in sort of this very cabin in the woods type scenario where they're watching everything in a computer room, and they're like, oh, geez, he got loose. Now, it looks like our guy, who's not Hemingway, is perhaps this son of God, sort of, but God's a weird brain-looking beast thing. I don't know. It's really weird, and I'm not really quite sure what's going on. Looks like there's a weird devil in the next one. So I'm not entirely sure where they're going with it. It's like there's angel or demons eating angel babies. I don't know. That's weird. This is a weird book. It started out as a very interesting concept and then went crazy. But I'm along for the haul.
All right.
Next, we've got Alice Cooper. This is issue number 2. I kind of liked this book. I wasn't sure what was going on, but it does have a very creepy vibe, and it's almost as if, do you remember that movie Trick or Treat that came out? Not the one with the anthology one with the little kid walking around with the sack on his head and intertwining all the stories. Not that one. Yeah. The one with the Fastball soundtrack with, I think it was Fastball or whoever it was. It had, what was it? I think Gene Simmons was a radio DJ. Skippy Handelman from...
Okay. I do remember that.
You remember that one? And
that's way back.
And the one, whatever the rock star is, he comes out through his last record, and he's like killing all the jocks. Alice Cooper seems to have made some kind of pact, and he sort of is doing people's bidding when they play his record backward kind of thing. So it looks kind of weird. It's pretty, decent art. I kind of like the idea. I like Alice Cooper. He's had a few comics. He was even in the Marvel comics. Does he not? Was it Marvel Premiere is the first one that he's in, right? Yeah. Okay. His first appearance is Marvel Premiere, while Kiss's first appearance
is
Howard the Duck.
Was it in Howard
Before the Super Special, they were in the back of a Howard the Duck. And everybody wants to just say, whatever, Howard the Duck. They did weird stuff with that book.
Oh, yeah.
It was a monster book. not a duck with pants. Or he didn't have pants then. Next, we've got Wild's End. This is by Dan Abnett. So this is one of the creators of the current Guardians that everybody loves, doing sort of a strange animal book. There's something going on outside the town, and now these people, these anthropomorphic animals, are trying to go out, figure out what's happening. It has kind of reminds me a little bit of what's his name's approach with the film there of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay, yeah.
It has that vibe to me. Obviously, the art doesn't look the same as the stop motion that they used, but just the way these characters are sort of interacting. Yeah. And it's, there's kind of a greater mystery going on and some oddness. I like it. Wild's Ends by Boom Studios. Now it seems like there's always a Boom book stuck in my stack somewhere. And that's the bulk of my rather short stack this week.
Yeah, I got a short one too. I'm gonna start off with New Avengers number 25. This is continuing. Time Runs Out. This time we've caught up with the now bearded Mr. Fantastic and some of the members of the Illuminati, including the Hulk and the Beast. From the cover, it looks like there's some coffins with some Illuminati symbols on it, like Doctor Strange, Namor, and X-Men, and I don't know who these other two might be. Oh, that's Black Bolt. I don't know who the Atom is. But yeah, this is Hickman's jumped 7 months into the future now, and we're seeing where the Marvel universe is going to be. Sue Richards is now heading up S.H.I.E.L.D. or working for S.H.I.E.L.D., looking for her husband and the Illuminati. So yeah, this is kind of
I think everyone's got beards.
Well, that's to show time has passed.
Okay, yeah, they're not shaven. That's good.
Yeah, they have time to clean their costumes.
They didn't have the benefit of the police officers in the sewers in Dark Knight Rises, where they all had razors somehow and shaved.
What interests me is they don't have time to shave, but apparently they do have time to get haircuts, because no one's hair. Actually, the Hulk's got like a mohawk or something.
He looks like the Savage Dragon.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But anyway, this is the end of Jonathan Hickman's big Avengers tale. As it's all this stuff is tying together, the incursions, the time being broken, everything leading to some sort of cosmic universe shattering thing that may or may not lead into whatever Marvel's big event next year is. We've gotten teases of Secret Wars and Civil War and Age of Ultron and other things kind of reappearing. So yeah, there's something big on the horizon. This is kind of the one of the books that's kind of tying things together to lead towards that. Next up, we got Fantastic Four number 11. This is continuing a great run by James Robinson. The Fantastic Four have basically been broken up by the government. The Thing is in jail for killing the Puppet Master, but things are clearly not what they seem, as he's in a jail that has deactivated his superpowers, but the Ms. Marvel She-Thing from years past is kind of the boss of the prison, but for some reason her powers are not deactivated so that she can beat the crap out of him on a pretty regular basis. So yeah, basically someone is behind setting up the Fantastic Four for quite a fall, and all that's going to play out in James Robinson's run, which does lead to the end of the book, which has a lot of people freaking out until you realize that the Fantastic Four book has ended 4 times in the last 5 years.
Right.
So yeah, it's calm down.
I wish they would just keep the numbers going. Well, whatever.
Maybe it is coming back to the 600 numbering again before it ends. Because when you get close to an anniversary, you bring the numbers back, then you reboot it and you get to number 1. It's Marvel math.
Right.
No, they know what they're doing. That way they can have an anniversary whenever they feel like it.
Pretty much.
Yep. Next up, Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man. This is number 6. There have been some weird twists in this book. We've got what we think is a Peter Parker clone, because Peter Parker's running around even though he's dead. Norman Osborn came back, and then J. Jonah Jameson killed him. But it's hard to kill a goblin. They got that goblin serum. So basically in this, we're trying to figure out exactly what happened with Peter Parker. Now the world knows that this guy wearing the original Spider-Man's costume is running around. May is now aware of it. Mary Jane is aware of it.
Okay.
Bendis is throwing some stuff in here that you don't really see coming. So I highly doubt that this ends with, the return of the original Peter Parker.
Right.
But how they get to wherever they're going to get, we'll find out. But good stuff. Always
Cool.
been, one of the things I've always liked about the Ultimate books is they're not kind of bound by making sure the properties are kept in sort of
Right.
a pristine format, so they can do whatever they want, and they can give you the kind of stuff you're not going to get in the regular books. Next up, Thanos. I got up there listening. This is a weekly book. I got the first issue. It's really far more the tale of Thane, Thanos' son,
Okay.
who is now learning about his father. So I'm hoping that this isn't just another Thanos biography, because didn't they just have one?
Right.
Or did they just figure they need more than one? But yeah, he's learning some stuff about his father. At this point, it looks like it's not just going to be a rehash of his biography. He's just going to learn some stuff about Thanos. So it's
So
telling some.
looking at the character design, I'm wondering who Thane's mother was. Sinestro?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it does have a little Sinestro core vibe to it going on there. But his mother was an Inhuman, I guess.
Well, he's got pointy ears. He's got
Yeah.
Sinestro's face without the sweet mustache.
Well, he's a little more purple. He doesn't have the funky chin either. But hey, Thanos can have some man-on-man love.
It's fine, whatever.
But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a story of Thanos versus Ego, the Living Planet. So maybe this is just basically untold tales of Thanos as told to his son, who's learning more about his father. First issue was all right. This issue, we'll see. I mean, it's not Jim Starlin stuff. It's not the best Thanos stuff, but we'll see if maybe this picks up a little bit.
All right.
Next up, Batman Eternal number 28. This one's called Turning Point. So I guess something's going to turn here. But yeah, we've got this big ongoing story. Gotham is kind of corrupt. You've got Catwoman kind of possibly vying for a position in the Gotham Underground. They're still trying to get Gordon out of jail. This is really it's almost too much plot to kind of tell you, because they're not wrapping anything up. It's one big, huge story.
Okay.
Looks like we are getting a little bit more of the Catwoman stuff. There's nanobots making Gothamites crazy. Spoiler has showed up. This is a lot going on in this book.
Why would anyone want to live in Gotham?
This is one of those ones where you're really going to wonder that, because in a very short period of time, we've got demons under the ground. We've got the entire police situation kind of falling apart. You've got crazy people running around, people blowing up buildings.
After Cataclysm in No Man's Land, why would anyone ever return?
Yeah, well, maybe it is basically everyone in Gotham is just crazy. And that's why they wind up putting on funky costumes and clown outfits and penguin gear and stuff. So yeah.
Something in the water, man, for sure.
Must be. Next up, we got Justice League number 35. This is Jeff Johns and Doug Mankey. Lex Luthor's in the Justice League. But he's also kind of learning that he likes being treated like a hero.
Okay.
That little girls giving him flowers and saying thank you actually tickles his heart in a way that he was not expecting. So we're going to get some sort of a Grinch turn, and I'm sure he's going to go back to being an evil person again. He's still working with Bruce Wayne. They're keeping him close, but he's clearly got a plan to bring Wayne down, just as Wayne has a plan to bring Luthor down. So it's all a bunch of double crosses and stuff like that. This has been good stuff.
Right.
Good stuff overall. This one has the introduction of something called the Amazo virus. So they're working Amazo into the New 52 in an unusual way. But yeah, the heart of this is really Batman versus Lex Luthor, or really Batman or Bruce Wayne versus Lex Luthor, which is actually kind of cool.
Absolutely, and that's what, issue 35?
Issue 35.
So they finally caught up, or is it? Yeah, it's the 35s this month.
Yeah.
Justice League is finally caught up.
Finally caught up.
Hot diggity.
Yeah. Well, they had to do a few fill-in artists to catch up for a while, but yeah, Justice League is back on its regular schedule for now.
For now.
But something Fabok. I can't remember his first
Oh,
name.
Jason Fabok?
Jason Fabok's taken over as the artist.
Okay.
And he's good.
He is good.
So yeah, that's Justice League. That's my stack.
Well, that brings me to the top of my stack here, which is probably the biggest book of the week.
Yeah,
This
that would
is-
have been my top if it wasn't yours.
That's so we can both discuss
Yeah.
here, but yeah, kind of a lighter week for me this week. This is Death of Wolverine 404.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally got that ending. It was supposed to be a weekly book, and then they pulled it back because they said the etching was harder for them to do. This 4 really does look nicer than any of the other 3,
Yeah.
to be honest. It looks real
A
sharp.
lot of detail on there.
Yeah, it looks really, really nice. This is it. This is Death of Wolverine.
Mm.
They've also got Logan Legacy #1 this week,
Right.
and so now for the next month, there's probably going to be 2 to 3 books involving the Death of Wolverine every week. I think there's a tie-in in Think maybe Uncanny X-Men and definitely Wolverine and the X-Men. So they're going to start tying it all in. You know, I'm not going to look too close here because I don't want to necessarily see the death. I want to be surprised. But I will say that Charles Soule's been writing a rather interesting story. I mean, they're going to kill him, and how else would Wolverine go out rather than, all right, come get me. Here's where I'm at, and do the best I can to kind of preserve myself kind of thing. But there's someone with a larger play and a bigger plan, and, you know, to try and get him. And, you know, we shall see how that works out. I think, like I said, Charles Soule's been telling a good story. Sort of personal story that kind of touches on all the little elements of Logan, and Kitty Pryde was in there, and you know you're getting all of these nice little beats that make it feel a little bit less rushed rather than bam, we killed Wolverine, all right, done, thanks for the money, appreciate it.
I wish that this could have kept its weekly schedule because it's a pretty tight, briskly paced book, and getting all that in a month's time would have been a little nicer. Nobody's fault, you know.
Right.
They still got it out pretty quickly.
I would have liked to have seen this actually as an original graphic novel. They've been doing those, and they've been charging it $24.99 anyway. You know, they at $5 times 4, they get $20 out of us. Wrap the hardcover on it. Put all your extras in your material that's in the back of this. That's validating
they
anyway.
They hardcover too now.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and they will. You know they will. But I mean, this would have worked better for me as an original graphic novel.
Yeah.
Just one big thick book that I can grab and read. The fancy covers are nice. All that. The weekly schedule would have been nice had they stuck to it. But once they broke it up into 2 months, it just has me more and more wishing they'd just done the original graphic novel.
Yeah, that would have been nice, and they could have done a nice shiny cover on the graphic novel.
Sure.
But this was really good, really entertaining, very tight.
Yeah.
You know, there was not a lot of fat on this, and I like the idea, like they did with Superman, like they did with Captain America, that really this is just sort of the impetus for telling stories about the world without these characters.
Correct.
So now you know the pressure's on for everybody else to, like, the post-death of Superman stuff and the post-death of Captain America stuff was all great stuff.
Oh yeah.
So now the X-Men writers have got what is an X-Men universe without its most popular character like?
Right.
Interesting stuff. My top pick is Green Lantern New Guardians number 35. This is part 4 of the Godhead storyline. I've really been enjoying this storyline. I really like this introduction of the new gods into the DC universe. They have found out that it's a lot harder to use the White Lantern power than they realized. They realize that it's an incredibly powerful force that they think shouldn't necessarily be in the hands of humans. It should be in the hands of gods like themselves. So in this one, the new gods meet up with Kyle Rayner and kind of want to take over his power. And Kyle obviously is not going to go with that. This has been some interesting stuff. I really don't know where it's going to go. It's clearly leading towards a big dark side battle. There's hints to that. So I think this is actually getting a little overlooked in terms of leading towards something big. We know that there's a dark side war at some point coming down the road, and it looks like they're laying the groundwork for this there, and that's going to play out and have an impact across the DC universe. But really, really good stuff. I've been enjoying this series overall, as I've been enjoying the Green Lantern books in general.
Excellent. Yeah, it's nice to have the new gods back in the new 52. I kind of like that. You know, those are characters I always love. Any of that Jack Kirby stuff, you know, works for me because the character designs are all fun and goofy and
there's
just
been
fun comic stuff.
A good updating of that. Cool. I'm sure, you know, people who are, like many people don't like some of the updates in the new 52. And if you're someone who's very much a traditionalist, you may not like the somewhat more militaristic or darker, less kind of peacenik take on High Father and some of the new gods. But, you know, these people are powerful beings that call themselves gods, so they're probably going to.
A lot of time has gone by since they've had an update.
Right. And
I get it.
And this is just, you know, this is the beginning. We don't know where this whole thing lands. That's one of the things with a lot of the new 52 stuff is people will be judging it based on how things are introduced, not realizing that this is just it will eventually wind up probably much closer to what you're familiar with. They just want to get a story out of it before they get there.
Yep.
But yeah, this has been good stuff.
And they've kind of talked about another crisis coming up anyway, and there have been hints at the old 52, so who knows what's going to happen.
Crises and secret wars and civil wars and everything old is new again.
Agreed. But a short week, a really good week for comics.
Yeah.
So be sure to check those out.